Welcome everyone to Kansas Speedway. 2 races here at Kansas. It's a triple header of racing between Kansas and Watkins Glen this weekend. The Champ Car Challenger Series here in the breadbasket of America for a doubleheader here to replace the event at Las Vegas that was canceled due to Hurricane Hone. 34 cars taking on 2 races here this weekend. Friday night is for Challenger Series Racing. You'll see us again on Saturday night as well tomorrow night here on ABN. With 5 races to go, it is beginning to become clutch time for those trying to really contend and compete for the IndyCar National Championship standings. We're glad you're with us here on ABN as we really get up to speed here for you. Isabel Espinosa, as it was in Las Vegas, will be on pole position. The starting grid from Las Vegas, because we did do qualifying there in Vegas, has composed the starting grid for this event. Penalties from Milwaukee, all the engine failures we saw in Milwaukee, that doubleheader event 2 weeks ago, have been applied. So those drivers moved to the back of the field for this event. And that makes things pretty exciting, all things considered. Of course, walking into the QuikTrip 300, it is the conversation of who can stop Rachel Koivuniemen. Koivuniemen didn't have a great qualifying weekend in Milwaukee, came off with a win and another top 5. Similar situation very possible here tonight. Koivuniemen will start this race from the 12th row, 23rd. She enters with a 56-point gap over Isabel Espinosa. Espinosa, once again, in a really good position to try to close that in. We'll go over the full rundown here. It's also at the bottom of your screen for the starting grid. Over a race gap now in the points for Koivuniemen. She's going to try to maintain that over these next 5 races. We'll be down to 3 to go by the time we leave Kansas. At the front of the field, as we mentioned, Isabel Espinosa, the blue and white number 26 for Escuderia Aguila. Alongside her, Bianca Licciero in number 88 for Obsidian Racing Team. They share the front row together. Kira Moore and Karina Sakurauchi, they make up row number 2 ahead of Isabel Lantra and Karina Amara. Rex Riley and Luisa Floros will sit in row number 4 ahead of Sora Hoshino and Yuya Ishii. Seth Smith Jr. and Rika Venalainen, they make up your top 12. They're in row 6 there, ahead of Maria Chavez and Dale Blanco. Chavez also in the conversation in the top 5 in points right now. Would like to try to get a little bit closer after having a bad race in Milwaukee, kind of kicking her back down the order. Sonia Walker and Valerie Fang, they sit in row number 8. Fang off of a race win in race 2 in Milwaukee 2 weeks ago. Finally a Champ Car race winner. We'll try to do the same from 16th on the grid ahead of Jace Clark and Katrina Ochoa. They make up row 9. Mia Vitsut and Natalia Kurachenko, they sit in row number 10. Then it is Yumina Mizuno and Nera Takarasi making up row 11. Your points leader Koivuniemen inside row 12 alongside 3rd place in points, Felicia Zappa. Zappa is 63 points behind Koivuniemen, needing a lot more points to gain here at this point. Espacia Megalos and Maria Damata, they sit in row 13. That's 25th and 26th on the grid. Jake Carter and Satomi Ray, they sit in row 14 ahead of Arashi Seto and Roberto Crown Jr. All the bottom 5 starters in this field serving penalties from Milwaukee. So Roberto Crown Jr., Katerina Milinkovic, Keisha Fox, Asada Kito, and Amity Polstrix. Kito will also start last in tomorrow night's race due to having 2 engine failures in Milwaukee, falling out of both races 2 weeks ago. So overall, a bad starting point for Kito going into this event. And as we mentioned, the points, they are pretty rough here in Milwaukee, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's send it trackside.
Drivers, start your engines!
There was the Command the Fire engines, as we mentioned, Koivu and Isabel Espinosa, the top two. Felicia Zappa in third. It's Nara Takarasi in fourth. Maria Chavez fifth. 92 points adrift of the top spot. Would have to score about 20 points per race each of the next 5 over to Koivu to have a chance at the championship. Jake Carter in sixth is where it gets a little bit closer again, but it's 109 points away from the top of the board over 2 races the gap. The big thing about Koivu being in contention, or obviously right now leading the championship right now, that 61 car not in play for the promotion race. The promotion, due to Siri Lundqvist in Arrowhead Racing not being in the bottom 4, 2nd through 5th, now the talking point for the promotion spots. Everyone a fan of Siri Lundqvist at the moment because it gives an extra opportunity to those in that conversation. So Espinosa, Zappa, Takarasi, Chavez, Carter, and Megalos all in that conversation. Kira Moore and Luisa Flores not far away either. It's almost showtime. The QuikTrip 300 is underway. Green flag is out and we're racing in Kansas for the first time tonight. 2 races here in Kansas. The QuikTrip 300 going on right now. The Hollywood Casino 300 tomorrow. Already 3 wide as Amara tries to go down the middle to get around the 88 of Lucero, excuse me. Up to the front of the field. Here comes Kira Moore. And it is all over the place here. Going below the white line. We saw a little bit of that at Kentucky. A lot more of it here at Kansas. Aggressive banking around this 1.5 mile racetrack that opened in 2001. Looking at Amara as she tries to get around Seth Smith Jr. and will do so, but is also getting passed by Luisa Flores. And there you go, caution. Further behind. Car spun as you saw everyone trying to go for gaps. That was Mizuno. Hoshino also involved. Looks like that's the 44 of Ishii also involved. So caution out on lap 3 of 200 here for the QuikTrip 300. And we're going to go back a lap and see why that was the case and what happened to draw it here. Looks like a car, looks like this is all sitting behind Isabel Lantra. You see teammates there, Mizuno and Hoshino. Do it in slow motion here. Looks like this is just the 4 wide situation getting ready to happen. You see a Megalos on the inside lane. Teammates just hooked each other there. That's the 23 and the 09. The 23 goes straight into the outside wall. Everyone largely does a really good job avoiding that and preventing that from being an even worse ordeal. The 3 cars have some work to do. Back to live pictures here. Not a lot of cars coming down pit lane there. Kira Moore will lead the field to green on this restart after taking the lead on lap 1. Moore is one of those drivers in the conversation, 8th in points right now. Sitting 120 behind Koivu, but I don't think the conversation is for the championship. The conversation is trying to get into the top 5 in points. That's where Chavez is gatekeeping right now, and that gap is 28 points, so way more reasonable gap. Next, Riley and Chavez, though, your top 3. So Chavez trying to keep the gate pretty locked tight here. Chavez, as things sit, could gain a decent amount of points. But remember, has to try to outscore Koivu by at least 19 points a race to be on track for the championship going into Atlanta. That's easier said than done for someone like Koivu, who has been so good this season. Obviously, we have the doubleheader here in Kansas this weekend. We go to Chicagoland next weekend. And then we head to Mexico for a trip to Ensenada in Baja California for a trip on the Ensenada festival circuit, part of the Horizon Festival there. And then the season ends in Atlanta later next month. All 34 cars still rolling here on the racetrack. Only 7 cars came down pit lane. Crown, Zappa, Espinoza, Hoshino, Smith, Ishii, and Mizuno. Espinoza coming from the front of the field to the back after being on pole position. Was not happy with how the car felt, decided they would go ahead and make an early adjustment and work their way back forward over this long race distance here. Obviously going green, we'll have 194 laps to go when we do go green here at the end of this lap. So again, as the results scroll at the top of your screen, keep an eye on the 29, the 67. They're in a direct fight right now, points-wise. But also keep an eye on the 61 of Koivanami, currently sitting 8th right now. Takarasi in 10th. Keep an eye on how they fluctuate here. We're going to have a single file restart to get things going. 34 cars all together again. Those involved in that first caution on lap 3 at the back of the field and out of the way. Getting ready to go. Green flag flies, and Kira Moore leads us to green once again for the QuikTrip 300. Here comes Rex Riley. Started this race in 7th. Ran along the inside line along with Chavez. After leading the first 6 laps in a row, it will be a new race leader. It will be Rex Riley. And Chavez goes up to 2nd. Chavez looking for a chance at a race win. Sonia Walker up to 3rd. There's Karina Sakurauchi, and then Jace Clark in the 6, or sorry, in the 9 for the Coke Cherry car. Takarasi up in the top 10 as well, about to pass her teammate there, the Frostfire Racing duo, side by side at a 4. Across the line they go. That is Takarasi up to the 6th spot and counting. Lucero is sort of outside front row, had time to recover. The inside lane will prevail here. Kira Moore being freight trained around right now, as so is Rex Riley. Riley got to lead a lap. Now it's in the hands of Chavez. Chavez, Walker, Takarasi. Sorry, not Takarasi, that's Sakurauchi. Takarasi moving forward though, or was moving forward, now middle 3 wide. And being dropped by Lucero and by Milinkovic. Walker drifting up the racetrack under threat from the Coke Cherry car of Clark. As Walker stays in touching range of the front of the field. It's Chavez that leads, Sakurauchi. Here comes Clark. Clark to the inside lane. Doing an outstanding job, but also leading forward. Points leader, Koivanami, looking for 3rd. Fastest lap so far set by Espinoza on her way back forwards through the field, a 26.875. That is a 200.9 mile-an-hour lap. Almost 3/10 faster than the current front of the field. So Espinoza is on a charge. Whatever they dialed in, they knew what they were looking for, and they have got it. Espinoza's already not far away. There's Espinoza right now. Restarted this race in 30th, already up into the top 14 and closing in on the top 10. Car struggling there. Saw Valerie Fang struggling with understeer. So is Keisha Fox. So some drivers not happy with the balance of this car. Now that we're getting some laps in to figure out where we're at, Espinoza up to 12. And closing in even more. Everyone's trimmed out a lot here. This is a very fast 1.5 mile oval with that progressive banking. It makes multiple lines easier to run. You almost saw a little bit of that there as Moore tried to rally back around to pass Sonia Walker and the 12 of Sakurauchi. Now they will go 3 wide, but unfortunately Lucero pinned behind the 36. Here goes Keisha Fox after making an adjustment to get that car tuned in a little bit. These cars do have the in-car adjustment tools, the weight jacker, which is only available on ovals like here at Kansas, and the roll bars. Got 2 roll bars for both the front and the rear. You can stiffen or soften those as you need to. Usually you do opposite reactions for both the front and the rear. So if you move the front up, you move the rear backwards. Or vice versa. You can pump up the rear and lower the front, depending on what you're feeling. Everyone fine-tuning that here. Everyone obviously expected the night race, which was supposed to be tomorrow night, but obviously the doubleheader gave us a race tonight too. Similar conditions expected tomorrow night. So everyone's going to have a little bit of experience here to go into this event. Everyone going to have a lot more of a grip on where they need their car to be for tomorrow night's race. It is an impound event, so no practice tomorrow in the afternoon. Next time these cars will be on track will be getting ready for the race tomorrow. Look at Rex Riley charging through the inside lane. The outside lane, it looks like a lot of cars getting really tight, drifting up to the outside and just checking up to avoid tagging the wall. So a lot of cars dealing with understeer at the moment. Vitsu up into the 7th spot, being challenged by the points leader, who goes up the racetrack voluntarily. Lines up behind Chavez, and they'll duke it out at a 2. Chavez prevails there. Koivanemi will not, though, being sucked the odd one out. Front of the field now, you see Espinoza all the way up to 2nd place. It is Milinkovic leading, though. Clark led 3 laps. Milinkovic has now led her 2nd. But the pole sitter did not take long to go from 30th back to the front of the field, challenging the Bosnian into turn 3 and gets it. Remember, Espinoza is the closest one to Koivanemi in the points, 56 points away. It's a really big ordeal. So Espinoza back out in front, leading for the first time. Did not lead the opening lap. Remember, that went to Kira Moore. The car fell off to Espinoza, so she made that pit stop on lap 4 during that caution period. And that turned out to be a really smart move, because she has already rocketed away from the 30 of Milinkovic, who was no slouch on these ovals, a winner at Indianapolis for the Gamebridge 300 back in May. And here comes Milinkovic. You're seeing it thin out a lot here, and it's going to be like this back and forth. The reason why this is going to be this way, these cars handle a lot different if you're in clean air versus dirty air. So you have to sort of readjust every time you either get in clean air or you move to the outside lane. You've got to really adjust your game plan and then rebuild that momentum, because you lose a little bit every time you make that change. This is a track where you really have to be on it. You see Milinkovic there got right through the gearbox of Espinoza, but then dropped back pretty significantly. In that process, it was not easy for Milinkovic to stay close. Clean air is the great equalizer. And you're seeing a little bit of that as Venäläinen, 2-time race winner this season, gets ahead of Chase Clark. Clark ahead of both the Arrowhead cars. Arrowhead right now looking pretty well in the standings, mostly in part thanks to Koivanemi. Keisha Fox getting familiar with this track a little bit before she heads to the AT&T Cup Series next year for Arrowhead Racing, part of that team's 3-car effort. And Koivanemi will lead Maria Chavez, Maria Damata, and Mia Vitsu up forward. But that's all a cluster behind the top three. Top three being earmarked right now by Jace Clark, who defended third from Venäläinen. Here comes Damata on Chavez, the Brazilian and the Mexican, side by side, battling for sixth. Vitsu, the Estonian, sitting in position as well. Prime real estate there. Bianca Lucero, the San Marinese, rounding out your top 10. Kira Moore, who led the first 6 laps of this race, sitting right now in the 11th spot over Jake Carter. As we have crossed the 1/8 mark, we're now on lap 26 here in the QuikTrip 300. Rex Riley in the 13th spot right now as things stand, ahead of Nera Takarasi in 14th, Isabel Lantra in 15th. Then it's Karina Sakurachi and Seth Smith Jr. battling out for the 16th starting spot. Sakurachi getting 16th away from Smith. And here comes Kurachenko up to 18th, battling for 17th, and we'll get it. Seth Smith Jr. falling backwards a lot. So is Sonia Walker. Walker down the 19th. Make that 18th. And here comes Roberto Crown Jr. up to the 20th spot ahead of Aspasia Megalos. Then you have Katrina Ochoa and Dale Blanco. Naomi Bolsatrix, Valerie Feng, who we saw dealing with a lot of understeer. That car's not where she wants it to be. Licha Zappa in the number 50. Karina Amara in the 27th position, ahead of Sadakito. And then you have some of the cars that were damaged in that caution. Hoshino, Mizuno, Seto, Satomi Ray, Luisa Flores in 33rd, and Yuya Ishii rounding out the back of the field after carrying a really big bulk of that damage from lap 3. Front of the field, though, it is still Isabel Espinoza leading this race, now led 11 laps of this race, ahead of Milinkovic, who has led 2 laps. These two trying to waltz away from Riikka Venäläinen and your 4th place car, your points leader, Rachel Koivanemi. Espinoza really trying to rally back here. Needs to average 11, really needs to average 12 points per race advantage over Koivanemi to have a chance at the title. Right now she's got it. It's an 18-point swing, 19-point swing realistically, which would bring the gap back down to almost 35 points. If she can hold on and get most laps led points, it would bring it down to under 30 if things stay as they are. Both the national and the world championships being headlined by consistency, although Koivanemi has 2 wins to her credit. Evangeline Porter, the world championship leader, going into this weekend. We'll see them on Sunday at Watkins Glen with the rest of the World Series field. Porter leading by 28 points with no wins so far, but out of 19 races, Porter's been top 10 17 times. Venäläinen walking away from Koivanemi. Koivanemi unable to get that car turned in time for turns 1 and 2, and will lose a couple spots for it to both Lucero and Damata, and may lose more. Here comes Vitsu tuning in, but drifting up, got stuck behind too much dirty air, and the car lost the front end. You're seeing that, and it'll get worse as this run goes along. The more that these Firestone tires fall off and they lose that grip, they lose that freshness, understeer will be a huge part of what these drivers deal with. You see that Venäläinen, who was saving tires a little bit, was able to poach 2nd place from Milinkovic. So Venäläinen beginning the surge forward here, could be a prime opportunity to do so. But here comes Lucero as well. And Milinkovic not giving up without a fight. Saw a big difference there. Venäläinen used the outside lane to defend from Milinkovic. The difference of it's obviously between when we talk about cars drifting up versus cars running the upper lane, when you're running the upper lane deliberately, your car's tuned to do that. You've used your in-car adjustments to get the car to really handle being on the outside, because it is bumpier up there. And you're seeing they're all using it right now to close in on Espinosa out of turn 2. When we talk about drifting out and understeering, you start near the white line and you drift up the racetrack. The car just isn't biting. It's not grabbing to the asphalt there, and you're just losing that grip. You're losing that control. Venalainen not showing any of that lost control. That car is where she's putting it, and it's tuning and driving the way she wanted to, and she's going to get to the lead effortlessly through turns 1 and 2, and Espinosa will go from 1st to 4th in no time at all. And that's a big difference there for Espinosa. Her car was so used to the clean air. The moment she got any air around her at all that was disturbed, she felt like a rock. Here comes Lucero as Venalainen leads her first laps of the night. And Espinosa getting right back on those roll bars, and that weight jacker will get back to 3rd place ahead of Milenkovic. But don't look now, Maria da Mata, also a really good oval expert here, especially as mile and a halves. Only oval win came at a mile and a half, came at Texas a year ago. Gonna be in the mix, as the 8 car normally is at these types of races. V-Suit obviously came onto the scene in Champ Car with a phenomenal performance at the Twin Rim Motegi circuit last year as a part-time entry for Cat Devil Racing. Estonian driver showing no fear. Koivuniemen trying to battle and work her way towards the front of the field right now. Right now, this is a good scenario for Koivuniemen, who does not seem to have that 61 car where she wants it to be. Right now, the amount of points she's losing have greatly diminished. But Espinosa does have a strong car. Battling for second here will take second away from Lucero. Difference between 1st and 3rd is 15 points. As we covered earlier in this broadcast, Isabel Espinosa needs all those points. She needs every single one of them right now. Sitting almost 60 points adrift of the points lead going into this race. Big kicker right now, as it was in Milwaukee. All the lead lap cars that finish this race are inverted to make up the starting grid for tomorrow. So everyone knows right now, if with 34 cars right now on the lead lap, you win this race, you're starting dead last tomorrow. I don't imagine that we're going to see all 30 cars finish on the lead lap here. We're on lap 40, and those at the back of the field, those that carry the most damage at the moment from that caution on lap 3, are a little over. That's just about half a lap behind right now, as you see Lucero for Obsidian Racing Team passing her teammate there. So Obsidian holds on to the race lead. It's just now a different driver at the front. And it is Lucero ahead of now Isabel Espinosa, who's going to poach from Venalainen. And Venalainen in trouble, dealing now with Milenkovic and Damata. Trying to regenerate that momentum here. Koivuniemen, the points leader, down in 8th behind Vitsut. But ahead of Kira Moore, and safely ahead of Kira Moore at the moment. It's Moore, Chavez, Riley, and Fox in this group at the very end of the top 10 and just outside of it. And then you see Takarasi battling with Jake Carter. That is for 13th at the battling Ford. Sakurauchi in this mix, so is Isabel Lantra. As they all come around the racetrack at the moment. See Jake Carter running way up the racetrack at the moment to defend from Lantra. Lantra has a little bit better drive out of turn 2, but Carter ran really high up. Usually a dangerous place to be with all the marbles there. Didn't run quite so high up there in 3 and 4, and obviously it's showing why the inside lane is just a little bit better right now. Sakurachi lost a lot of time, had to lift out of the throttle due to understeer. So that car really not where she wants it to be right now for the 12 team. They can make adjustments to the front wing and the angle that the front wing is at on pit stops here. Lap time to slow down pretty considerably now that we're on the older tires. We went from 26.9s, we're now running 29.6s. So a lot of fall off here. This is a track that has not been repaved at all in its history. This track was opened in 2001. We're now in year 24 on this asphalt, so it does abuse the tires a little bit. It's a little bit bumpy, a little bit aged. There's a little bit more care for this track, and it's a little bit smoother than what you would see the likes of Homestead, Miami, which has got an aging surface there. Some of the tracks further north, Chicagoland, which we're going to next, is going to be a good example of that. Both tracks similar in age. Chicagoland a lot bumpier, dealing with more of those frigid winters, the ice and the snow, than what you see normally in Kansas. I see likes of Miami being so hot all the time. Will also age the surface a little bit. Kansas, if you want to put the Goldilocks equation into the scale, not too hot, not too cold, just right. We've crossed the 25% mark in these QuikTrip 300. Now we're looking at those just outside of the lead group at the moment. It is kind of a breakaway right now between two cars. And it's very ironic that we see these two battling again. Isabel Espinosa, who used to drive the 88 for a couple of years, and Bianca Lucero, who inherited from Espinosa after Espinosa got hurt last year at the Twin Ring Motegi race. An incident there between Espinosa and Shufeng Zhang. There in Motegi. Espinosa suffered multiple spinal fractures, was out the entire rest of the season. Lucero, two-time Atlantic champion, getting that call up. These two duking it out right now for the race win, and Espinosa now on the outside lane, trying to use the outside lane and the momentum that you can get there on the outside to defend the race lead. And so far, doing a great job of it. These two kind of out and away from everyone else. Miavitsu trying to close in there for Cat Devil Racing. Running about the same speeds as the leader, but in cleaner air at the moment. Katerina Malinkovic running faster still, as is Jace Clark. Everyone sorting themselves through here. Maria da Mata ahead of Rachel Koivanami. Koivanami herself ahead of Rika Venäläinen. These two battling it out back in Night City. Venäläinen, a big battler here. Battled for a lot in Phoenix against Felicia Zappa. Zappa not in the top 10 at the moment. Maria Chavez in 9th. Nara Takarasi, your top 10 is how things sit at the moment. Seth Smith Jr., the best of these two Swift Autosport cars right now, battling for 13th. As we just browse and peruse back, you're looking just a little further down the order. Jake Carter in 20th is where he sits at the moment, and just ahead of Felicia Zappa, who's down in 21st position right now. Everyone battling out for points here at the moment. Sonia Walker down the 24th. And then you see some of those that are still struggling to find balance in the cars, really, is where we're seeing some of these cars. Sora Hoshino doing a good job after not a small contact with the wall. Battling for 29th. Mizuno, another one who made contact with that wall there. Floros really struggling in 32nd. Yuya Ishii getting ahead of teammate Satomi Ray, who is coming up to a hard knocks time, dealing with the balance issues here. Both of the Yanjian Motorsport cars struggling at this point. Ray has not touched the wall, unlike Ishii did. Satomi Ray finding out that it's not as easy on these smaller ovals. Espinosa continues to lead, has now led 26 laps of this race out of 57 that have been completed. We are completing lap 58 now. It is these two that you see on your screen, then it's a 2-second breakaway where you see Katerina Milinkovic is now taking third away from Mia Vitsut. Vitsut now out of the top 5, sitting in 6th. And you see the points leader battling once again with Venäläinen, pair of two-time race winners this season, battling for the 7th spot. Chavez in 9th, sort of sitting in an island at the moment, and then Fox battling to stay in the top 10 conversation as they all duke it out. We zoom out and just look at how expansive this track can be here in Kansas. There's Hollywood Casino, sponsor of tomorrow night's race, as you see the side-by-side battle for the race lead between Lucero and Espinoza as they come out of turn number 3 and 4. Espinoza holds on once again. The outside lane 100% working out now that Espinoza has control of that lane. See some pit stops coming in. That is, and there's some lap cars coming in too. Espinoza pitting. Lucero coming down pit lane now. It's also Tommy Ray, one of the cars coming down pit lane too. So Espinoza. So they come in. So pit stops coming in very shortly here. So we're looking at right now. This is a 3-stop race. Right now, 60-ish, about 60, 65. This is bold Espinoza to stay out. Very bold Espinoza to stay out. I don't think this is going to, because the difference in time is 3.5 seconds right now. Just lap time. Older tires versus fresh tires. I don't think this is going to work out in Espinoza's favor, staying out and doing the overcut here. Now Espinoza, if she believes in her car being able to work through traffic, which she showed phenomenally on that restart on lap 7, then you're gonna believe in it Seth Smith Jr. will come around. He will lead a lap here, staying out longer. So he's going to get an extra bonus point for that. You see where Lucero is, and you see the pace difference. It's rapid. Here comes Vinalainen out of turn 2. And that makes this so dangerous is because of the closing rate. If a car is coming down pit lane, you're not going to know it immediately. Seth Smith does get down into the pit lane. He does so safely. His teammate in as well. Espinosa leaving pit lane now and has already been passed by a wide margin by several seconds. Lucero will be firmly in the race lead. Whoa, trouble! Ishii, and more trouble out of 4. Huge trouble out of 4. So caution is out. And that was the bit of the closing rate we were talking about. That was near pit entry. A lot of cars coming out of pit lane now. They will be stuck, unfortunately, behind the pace car, who's right there. Huge contact. Luisa Flores involved. That's Ishii involved here. We're going to see what happens. And this is where it starts with Ochoa and Ishii. Ochoa trying to close off on Ochoa. Huge contact there. I believe that's one of the Crystal Cove cars. It was. Valerie Fang involved. Seto involved. That's Jake Carter. And Flores. Unfortunately, nowhere for Flores to go. You've got Carter on the inside lane. Seto in the middle and Fang on the outside lane. And all of those cars are going to be out. Mid-cycle, too. So everyone getting cycled through here. Looks like it was near the end of the pit cycle. So we have 4 cars out right now with Ishii, Seto, Flores, and Carter. It looks like Valerie Fang should be done too. And that is indeed the case. Fang is out. A lot of cars coming back down pit lane here. So let's do a little bit of a reset here. I wanted to make sure that Keisha Fox isn't missing part of her nose, as in fact her nose is all there. So we're all good to go. So there's some cars stuck behind the pace car because they were on pit lane when the caution came out. Yumina Mizuno. Who I think came down pit lane, was for a moment the race leader. Indeed, Mizuno did come back down pit lane. So it is in the hands once again of your 88 of Bianca Lucero, Rex Riley, Keisha Fox, Aspasia Megalos, Katerina Sakurachi. They were all on pit lane when the caution came out, so unfortunately they do not get to go around the pace car, but they are technically on the lead lap at the moment. Sonia Walker, Katrina Ochoa, Natalia Kurichenko, Del Blanco, Asada Quito, Emily Polstrix, Satomi Ray, all a lap down. Ray was one of the first ones to come down pit lane, so that was a valid lap down situation for Ray. Others may not have been so lucky there. So realistically, we've got 22 cars on lead lap. Realistically, we've got 17 that are in the group, from Lucero to Seth Smith Jr. in 17th. Following our first caution of the night, a multi-car crash that has seen 5 cars retire. Everyone involved in that accident retired. Ishii, who was involved in both cautions here tonight. Valerie Fang. Rashi Seto, Luisa Flores, and Jake Carter all out. So get ready to go back green. You hear the engines begin to fire up. It'll be Rex Riley controlling the restart, but Lucero is the race leader. as we get ready to go once again for the QuikTrip 300 as we begin lap number 70. Here we go, and immediately Milinkovic did not waste any time getting ahead of the 88 of Lucero. They're all in traffic at the moment, and everyone's gonna have a reason to fight. And don't forget, keep your eye on Espinoza, the best car that handled traffic and was able to waltz away from said traffic pretty easily. We'll try to do so again here. Everyone's had a chance to adjust their cars under the pit stop sequence. And what they do on pit lane is they can adjust the front wing specifically, but they can also mess with tire pressures. See what they can do to get the car to lean a little bit more. Make the car a little bit looser. Here comes Espinoza. She is on the charge. But Maria D'Amata, no slouch either. It is still Milinkovic leading the field. Aspasia Megalos right now, last car on the lead lap. Finally getting around Megalos there. Roberto Crown Jr. from 30th on the grid. Made it all the way up to third here, but beginning to lose spots pretty massively here. Unless they've adjusted that car massively. That car is not a top 10 car at the moment. Being passed by Lantra as well. Brown losing a little bit of ground. Look at this 61 car charging forward now as well, getting around the 30. 3 wide going into turn 1. That is Amara, D'Amata, and Milinkovic. And it's Amara that gets the advantage here, and they all get around the 88 of Lucero further up at the front of the field. So now it's once again Espinoza leading, but here comes the Greek Amara. Everyone getting elbows out a little bit here on this restart. Lantra in the mix. Is Kira Moore back in the mix. Felicia Zappa also in the mix on the lead lap 2. Halo still in the mix, and obviously now a little bit more incentive to be in the mix. A little bit of contact between D'Amata and Espinoza, but they kept their foot in it. And both of them keep going here, but that's how much everyone's fighting right now here in Kansas. As Moore goes forward now and tries to chase down Karina Amara, the race leader, ahead of the points leader, who is currently sitting in third. But here comes Felicia Zappa, third in points, 63 behind, entering this race. Needing to outscore Koivuniemen right now by 21 points a race. When you start looking at the points per race difference you're going to need to make up, it becomes astronomical after a certain point. And it's already bad when you're looking at 56 and you're thinking the maximum you can score is 50 in the range that you normally get there. Race continues on here, starting lap 86 here of 200 in the QuikTrip 300. Here Moore working to get a lap back at the moment. I think actually has done so to get a lap back here. With Megalos ahead of Koivuniemen, who's at the front of the field. Koivuniemen in control right now ahead of Damata and Zappa. Zappa looking to the inside of the 8 car here. That's Amara in 4th. And it's side by side. The further down you go, everyone's still trying to hang in there. Some of the lap cars also in contention at the moment. Del Blanco notably one of those cars. Moving forward right now, car with damage. Even Mizuno not doing a bad job in the top 10. Seth Smith Jr. right now battling to try to get into the top 5, has done so, getting around Lucero, but here comes Mizuno once again with a full head of steam. Mizuno up to the top 5. Just watching as these battles go back and forth. 3 wide for the race lead, and it's going to be in the hands of Amara out of 2. Caution is out, and we're trying to figure out what's going on here. It's also a puff of smoke. What has happened here? That saves Moore and Megalos to get back on the lead lap. I believe it's Rex Riley that goes for a spin. Trying to see what happens here. And that's exactly where part of it happens here. Let's go ahead and go back and look at this. This is side by side. This is contact between Sonia Walker and Annie Pulsatrix. Pulsatrix just understeers into the 36 car there of Walker. Contact there between Pulsatrix and Satomi Ray. Looks like just a 3-car incident there. They all get rolling again. And they all are at the very tail end of the field as cars come out of pit lane. All of those cars involved in that, Walker, Ray, and Pulsatrix, they were a lap down, and firmly so. It's a third caution of the night here in the QuikTrip 300. And this is what will get us a little bit closer to the halfway mark. And realistically, with one pit stop left to go in this race for those that just came down pit lane. Lap down cars will all come down pit lane this time. No confusion about who's a lap down and who's not. It will be Karina Amara at the front of the field, ahead of Yumina Mizuno, Seth Smith Jr. in 4th, behind his teammate there, Felicia Zappa. And in points leader, Rachel Glovenamy, right now sitting in the top 5. As the work begins. So the car is leading pit lane. All these cars are joining the very back end of the line. Good look there. Car is in for some extended service. As they all leave pit lane, we're going to step aside for a brief break. We'll be back here on ABN for more of the QuikTrip 300. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to the QuikTrip 300 here at Kansas Speedway. Get ready to go back racing. For a third caution of the race, an incident involving Sonia Walker, Amity Pulsatrix, has reset us here, coming to 104 laps to go. It's a 1 pit stop race from here. Karina Amara, Yumina Mizuno, and Felicia Zappa, your top 3. Green flag flies once again, and away we go. Got a lot of different race leaders so far. Amara, just one of the more recent ones. Amara, Mizuno, Zappa, Seth Smith Jr., Koivanemi, Lucero, D'Amata have all led laps. That's all of your drivers that restarted this race in the top 6. Isabel Espinosa led the most laps so far at 34. That was our pole sitter for this race. Mizuno, you see the damage on that 23 car, beginning to feel it here on this restart. Down to 4th, down to 5th. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. and Maria D'Amata and Jace Clark there, the 9. All 3 of the Black Rose Racing cars in the mix. And they sit side by side. Clark trying to find his way forward here. Mara leading, but here comes points leader Koivanemi. 61 looking to the inside lane. And move the finish driver up to the front of the field. 19 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Aspasia Megalos and Kira Moore, they raced their way back onto the lead lap before that last caution came out. So it makes Katrina Ochoa the first car a lap down, the 27, the target car for Escuderia Aguila. Ochoa's teammates, Espinosa and Chavez, all on the lead lap. Chavez right now in 11th, Espinosa in 12th. In fact, we can kind of browse back to them. There's Ochoa in the 27, right behind Espinosa. And I believe Chavez slid backwards there, Chavez. She did slide backwards behind Clark and Rika Venalainen. Side by side, there's Amara charging forward. Koivanemi got the lead a lap there, but here comes Roberto Crown Jr., the 10. Trying to lead his first laps today, and it looks like he's going to do so. Gets clear of Koivanemi. Koivanemi now side by side with D'Amata. And keep an eye on the 88 of Lucero going all the way down towards the grass. And caution is back out again. And this time, this is a big crash. Up and over went Felicia Zappa. This is Yumina Mizuno and Natalia Kurachenko all involved. So 4th time the caution has come out. They're going to race back to the line. It's going to be in favor of Amara. You see the smoke down the front straightaway. We noted that Mizuno was falling backwards pretty quickly. So 4th caution coming out pretty quickly. Satomi Ray, who's involved in the 3rd caution. Pretty slow to the jump. Kurachenko in trouble here. So we're going to get a good look at what happened. Building up for a lap here. And again, this is all Mizuno beginning to fall backwards. We started this race in 2nd. And Mizuno drifts up the racetrack here a little bit. Gets spun by Rex Riley, who avoids tagging the wall. Hard hit to Mizuno and Zappa especially. Really hard impacts there for them. Yeah, not a great impact if you're Kurachenko either. Nowhere really to go on that situation, but the hardest hit all comes behind. Everyone else getting around and away from that. Kurachenko in pit lane now. All 3 involved in that incident in pit lane. And expecting those drivers to be out of this race as well. So a couple of really violent crashes here in this race. We had the 5-car crash that saw Jake Carter take a really wild hit, as well as Yu Ishii. They've been checked and released from the infield care center. And now after flipping, Felicia Zappa will also need evaluated from the Champ Car medical team after a wild ride on the front straightaway. Luckily, no cars in the catch fence, which is the greatest news you can get. But for Felicia Zappa, another big hit. Zappa was third in points going into tonight. Will likely drop, could drop as low as fifth, realistically going to drop down to fourth. Takarasi, if she continues going as she is right now, Takarasi in seventh place right now, would do a pretty good job of leapfrogging Zappa. Chavez 29 points behind at the moment, would need a little bit of help, with Zappa scoring 5 points here tonight. Sorry, 6 points for Zappa. She led 5 laps. And indeed it is the case. Mizuno, Zappa, and Kurichenko all officially marked out of this race. Kurichenko did make it back to pit lane under her own power, so no need to go to the infield care center for Kurichenko. Not so much the case for Mizuno and Zappa. That leaves 26 cars still running. 17 on the lead lap. From Amara down to Sora Hoshino. Ochoa, Fox, Quito, the first 3 cars a lap down. With the light out on the Ford Raptor Pace truck here. Looking at our 4th restart for the QuikTrip 300. Cars getting into gear and getting ready to go. Fourth restart here to kick off lap 108 of 200. Here comes the green flag. Really good jump though by Maria D'Amata. It's going to immediately put pressure. Both the Black Rose Racing cars putting on immediate pressure. Here we go, side by side still. 8 cars, 9 cars under a blanket. D'Amata led that lap. Here comes Lucero, here comes Takarasi, here comes Espinoza. All of them in the mix. Into 3 and 4. Just like that, D'Amata out of the race lead, and now at the front is Lucero. And again, keep an eye on the 26 of Espinoza, one of the fastest cars in this race. Just at the fastest lap is car 30, Katerina Milinkovic, a 201.991 mile an hour average lap speed. That's a 26.731 as she carves her way up towards the podium places. That's up to third for Milinkovic. Side by side, teammates. Ochoa trying to get her lap back. Espinoza trying to get to the lead of the field. Lucero, though, leads the way, and it is chaos the further back you look. Madhouse group right here, and the championship leaders in the middle of it right now, looking to the inside of Lantra, gets past Lantra. Seems like everyone checked up behind the 87 of Vinalainen, who likely moved to the outside lane out of her own control. Getting kind of scuppered out of that and being forced out of the top 10. There you go. Vinalainen sorry, not Line, Koivu now trying to move back forward here, back up into the top 10 and 8th. Look at where we're at right now. Lucero looking really poised at the front right now, ahead of Takarasi, ahead of Milinkovic, ahead of Espinoza. We get to do this all again tomorrow night. We're only just past the halfway point here in Kansas. Wide for the race lead. Just watching as it all builds up here. It's going to be in favor of Lucero, who sprints away on the inside lane. Espinoza tried covering off from Takarasi, and it looks like that'll be somewhat successful there. Takarasi cutting Espinoza some slack. Really tight at the front of the field for a moment. And there's Maria Chavez in the fold now. All three of the Escuria Gia cars are in this group. Only two of them on the lead lap, but it shows how quick that Ochoa is. Ochoa pinned a lap down. A caution coming out under pit sequence under green. Pinning the 27 on a lap down, but Ochoa showing that she's got the pace to try to battle to get her lap back. She's only one down. She's the first to lap down. The ability to fight it through. Here comes Espinoza to the front of the field. So Espinoza now on point. Chavez struggling with balance on that car. Going to open up the inside lane for both the cars battling to get a lap back here. Rex Riley also showing some pace. That is Satomi Ray, the 04, going another lap down. This is now 2 laps down for Ray, who's got some significant damage going on right now on her 04 machine. This could be pretty treacherous here. But it seems like she's stuck on the outside lane, so it'll be pretty straightforward for now. Make their way on through. Espinoza back out in front, trying to cement most laps led and realistically trying to go for another race win, if at all possible. They go side by side. Bolster, so you know this is further back in the order. That was a car that was almost on the wall there. It looks like Megalos was up near the wall. Struggling with the balance of that car, even though Megalos is back on the lead lap, still struggling. Front of the field, you see where Rex Riley is, getting around Espinosa, trying to chase down Lucero. Remember, Espinosa won at Nazareth a couple months ago, really. Espinosa looking for race win number 2 and really help carve her way back forward in the points. Rex Riley really charging forward here. Takarasi right now sitting in 3rd, trying to hold off Maria Chavez. Takarasi 4th in points, Chavez 5th in points. So this is a direct fight right now. Both of them right now in the conversation for the promotion battle. Speedway has got 2 cars in that conversation right now with Espinosa and Chavez. Here's Milinkovic on the run. Got around Takarasi, following Chavez through, trying to do the same to Chavez. There's Koivanemi getting up to the top 5 by passing Takarasi there for 5th. You can see they're already on an island right now. This is 3 cars in this conversation. Espinosa got back around Riley, trying to chase down Lucero here with less than 75 laps to go. We're at 73 laps to go. Really struggling right now to keep touch with Rex Riley right now, who's now the first car lap down, and with Bianca Lucero. Seems like Lucero could be in line for something really cool. Trying to get that first Champ Car race win after having so much success in the Atlantic Series. Meanwhile, Rex Riley going to do something even cooler, and that is get a lap back here on the racetrack. And it's going to open the door for Espinosa to try to get through side by side as they go into 3 and 4, and Espinosa will make her way through. Here comes Ochoa. misses right now. This is wild stuff. Max Riley is just checked out. Lucero's back to the front of the field. And look who's third. Koivanemi. Talk about minimizing the damage. That's exactly what Koivanemi is doing right now, battling to try to just hold on to the podium at the moment. Koivanemi's got several podiums through her name right now. Started off with a podium at Phoenix, finished third. After that battle with Vinolanen and Zappa, finished third there. One in Night City back in late March. Podiumed again in Sonoma, finished second there. Third at Indianapolis for the Gamebridge 300 there. Had a little bit of a dry spell going into the late spring, early summer months there. Didn't really get back on the podium until a race win in Milwaukee. You also look at a lot of the near misses. Watkins Glen's one that pops up. Fuel mileage ended up being a factor there. As you watch her get passed by Roberto Crown Jr., who has never been on the podium in a Champ Car race. Near miss at Nazareth, near miss at Gateway, near miss at Kentucky. Another fuel mileage situation there for Koivanemi. Koivanemi down in fourth now. See the breakaway here. This is Ochoa also trying to get around the race leader, Lucero, to get a lap back here. It's a really big ordeal. It's going to check up Lucero mid-corner. And here comes Isabel Espinoza back to the front. These top two on your screen have led a combined 75 laps of this race. Ready to come around to start 140. These two have led a combined over half of this race so far, and these are the only two at the front in contention at the moment. Roberta Crown now a very distant third. Koivanemi's really struggled to keep up with the 10. Here comes Takarasi, and Takarassi's not running bottom of the racetrack either, so a lot of struggling with tire wear right now. These are the same tires that have been on and off with two pretty quick cautions in succession. So everyone having trouble just firing these tires back up. Takarasi to fourth, Koivanemi in fifth. You can see Sonia Walker there on another car. It's a lap down, looking pretty good. These are lap cars that have come down pit lane every caution, so they have the fresher tires. Comes Chavez. Chavez around Koivanemi, so Koivanemi really struggling right now. Takarasi caught right back up to Roberto Crown Jr. Here comes the battle for the race lead once again. Espinoza out in front. Satomi Ray about to check up the race leaders though. Riley back on the lead lap here. Here comes the battle for the race lead once again. This is Lucero challenging Espinoza as they go back and forth. Chero continues to lead here, and it is, again, a wild distance. 5 seconds between the battle for the race lead in this battle for third. Crown now ahead of Chavez and Koivanemi. You see Takarassi's dropped down all the way outside the top 5 now, behind Milenkovic, who's having a consistent run at the moment. Crown under threat for that third spot as they continue to swap the lead at the front. Approaching 50 laps to go. We are at coming to 52 to go here. And it's Lucero currently out in the front of the field, doing what she needs to do right now, looking for her first Champ Car race win. Lucero has now led 40 laps in this race. Espinoza's led 46. For those keeping track at home. Again, we've had a lot of different lap leaders. Maria Chavez has led 6 laps, right now sitting in the third spot. There's Chavez. Koivanemi's led 5. Takarassi has not led a lap yet. Only one of 2 drivers in the top 10 that have yet to lead a lap. The other being Mia Vitsu in 9th. Roberto Crown Jr. led 1. Maria D'Amata's led 3. Venelainen's led 5. 16 has been led by Karina Amara. One led by Seth Smith. Whoa, trouble! That is Satomi Ray spun out. Caution is out. But everyone largely kept that intact. That could have been a nasty crash, and instead, a lot of the field got bailed out there. Everyone catching up to the race leaders here is what we're doing right now. You see a little bit of damage on the wing of Sonia Walker there. We'll get a replay here in just a moment. Leaders catching up here. Rex Riley does get a lap back there in 18th place. Now at the front of the field, and unfortunately Katrina Ochoa will not, being behind the race leaders here. So this will be the last pit stop of the race. Or the last planned pit stop at least. Everyone can make it from here. So lap traffic there, and it's Sonia Walker and Satomi Ray that both were a big part of it. See, there's Satomi Ray at the front of all of this. Camyron just running in the middle of the racetrack here. Roberto Crown Jr. washes up a little bit. And this is actually on Roberto Crown Jr. for spinning Satomi Ray into Sonia Walker. That could have been a lot worse. Lap traffic will have their chance now to come down pit lane as lead lap cars make their way around. Rex Riley, leaving pit lane, now joining the lead lap cars in this field. As the lap down cars make their way down pit lane. There's Lucero and Espinoza, as we expected, at the front of the field. Now Maria Chavez in third. Katerina Malinkovic in fourth. Let's browse through the field here. See Malinkovic in fourth. Fifth is Rachel Koivanami. Sixth, Maria Damata. 7th, Roberto Crown Jr. 8th, Mia Vitsut. 9th, Nara Takarasi. 10th, Karina Amara. Rika Venalainen in 11th, ahead of Aspasia Megalos. Chase Clark in 13th. Seth Smith Jr. in 14th. 15th, Kira Moore. 16th, Isabel Lantra. 17th, Sora Hoshino. And 18th will end up being where you'll find Rex Riley. A couple cars got some pretty quick pit stops. It's Pulsatrix and Ochoa. Ochoa 19th, Pulsatrix Pulsatrix will end up being in the 21st position here. We still have 26 cars running at this point. Satomi Ray 3 laps down due to the damage she received earlier in this race. But will outscore Ishii, teammate there for Yanjian Motorsport, who was out of this race. Out on the pace truck, which means we are about to go back racing. And an amazing duel there between Lucero and Espinoza. Maria Chavez is now in the conversation, as is Malinkovic once again. Can they stay in the conversation for the next 45 laps? That is the next big question that we're about to have answered. Green flag flies, away we go. See the calamity here that's building. And everyone moving around the racetrack at the moment, coming out of turn 2, and caution's out once again. Oh, and this is Ray once again. So what happened here? Tommy Ray obviously very slow here. I see a huge checkup further back in the running order here. Oh, this is what happened. It was further. It was. We thought it was around Ochoa, but it's not. This is further back. Oh no. Ooh, that is a huge hit though for the 04. It looks like the 12 was looking to the inside, and I think the 71 was looking like they were getting ready to come down pit lane for Pulsatrix. So this could be bad news for the 04. Indeed, it is bad news for the 04. The 04 of Satomi Ray also now out of this race. Sakurauchi in trouble. See if they can get that car repaired. Ochoa coming back down pit lane. Pulsatrix still in there. You see that 71 car missing a lot of its side pod there. So a little bit of reprieve once again. So now it is Espinoza, Milinkovic, Fietsuit, and Chavez, your top four. Ahead of Maria da Mata. With Bianca Lucero now in the 7th spot right now as things sit. 18 cars on the lead lap. Everyone involved in that last incident, a lap down or more. Tommy Ray was 4 laps down. Polstrix 2 laps down now. Sakurauchi is still only 1 lap down and still circulating at that as well. So the only loss there was with Satomi Ray, who is out now and classified in 26th. And she'll have a chance to do it again tomorrow. Remember, those on the lead lap at the end of this race, their finishing position is inverted, and that's how they'll start. So right now, it is Rex Riley who will end up having that pole position for tomorrow's race if things hold. And that's why everyone's been racing so hard to get back on the lead lap. Even if you have a chance, if you're at the back of the lead lap, you'll have a really solid chance to start the race tomorrow. As the lights are out on the Ford Retro Pace Truck, that's why it was so important to Rex Riley and why it worked out so successfully and why Ochoa was battling her teammate to try to do the same thing. Ochoa pit for fresh tires there, was not a part of the incident. And that could end up working dividends for the 27. As they come down the back straightaway here at Kansas. Cloudy sky, but well worth it. Nice temperatures here. Good night for racing on our Friday night. We'll be back again Saturday night, tomorrow night, for the Hollywood Casino 300 here at Kansas. And the World Series on Sunday at 1 o'clock right here on ABN for the Champ Car World Series. It is Espinoza, Milinkovic, and Fietsuit leading us to green for the 6th restart of the night, with 40 laps to go. Really good restart by Chavez in 4th. Here comes Milinkovic looking to the inside of Espinoza. Chavez not going to be gun shy either. The inside went Roberto Crown Jr. as well. 25 cars still running. It is Milinkovic leading. Milinkovic 10th in points. Not a bad run for Milinkovic so far points-wise either. Another win on top of her win at Indianapolis would help out dramatically, but here comes Crown and here comes Fietsuit, both of them looking for their first wins in Champ Car competition, as is Maria Chavez. Chavez 3 wide with Amara and Milinkovic. Milinkovic backs out. Amara goes forward. There's Seth Smith Jr. as well. He himself has had a couple of near misses from getting his first Champ Car win. Fietsuit drops back. And it is Crown at the front, but keep an eye on the 26, keep an eye on the 4. Here comes Amara. The 4 and the 5 go to the inside lane. Crown in the middle. Espinoza up top. And here comes Amara, looking for her second race win. Look at Lantra, the 45, up to the podium places. What a sudden surge for the 45 in a very desperate time for Phoenix Motorsports in that regard. 12th place for Lantra right now as things sit. Valerie Feng was 11th in place, 11th in points entering, but 31st was all Feng can get after being taken out early. Lantra, though, Trying to get back to the ways that she was at when she won the season opener in Adelaide. Up to second, ahead of Espinoza. Chasing down the 5 of Seth Smith Jr. Espinoza could not close in on Lantra that time. Here comes Amara. Really big stuff right now. Kira Moore right now in the 9th spot at the moment. Keep an eye on the 27 of Ochoa. Could be a factor to really think about here as this race continues to go along. Asada Quito also only a lap down. Could be a factor as they both move through the field. Isabel Lantra has now led a lap in this race. Vitsi is still the only car. Sorry, Vitsi and Megalos right now, the only 2 cars out of the in the top 10 that have not led a lap yet in this event. And Vitsi's been up front near most of the day, sitting in 3rd in line there. Megalos in 5th in line. So they're all up to the front here. Megalos spent a lot of the race a lap down. Got a lap back, raced it back. And now has a chance to try to find a race win here. As Lantra leads and tries to break away. Seth Smith Jr. staying in the 2nd spot here. Here comes Megalos around Lantra. Teammates swapping places here. Lantra up to 3rd. Espinoza up to 4th again. Lucero stuck in traffic down in 16th at the moment. Espinoza peeks to the inside, entering 3. Megalos doesn't need to shut the door, comfortable on that middle lane and working the space there. The 22 charging forward, so is the 27. Those are 2 cars that are trying to get a lap back, because they'd be almost at this rate guaranteed a starting spot at the front of the field tomorrow if they do. But here comes Ochoa. Getting around Quito. Quito falling back, being shuffled to the outside lane. Ochoa is ahead of Vitsut at the moment. And is just on track, not for position. For the forward, there's Megalos getting around Smith. Now eyes set on the 45 of Lantra. This is for the lead of the race. Megalos has a race win, won at New Hampshire earlier in the year. Amara won at Charlotte. Megalos gets shuffled all the way back down to 4th place here. Smith on the charge once again. But here comes Milinkovic. Milinkovic has been really strong all day as well. Not as strong as I think as the 26 or the 88. But strong nonetheless, and strong right now when it matters the most, and that's in the final, coming to 26 laps to go in this race. Still a lot of cars that have a say in how this race can go down. It is Lantra out front, the Maltese driver, leading the way, but the Bosnian Milinkovic closing in, pulling away from Detroit's own Seth Smith Jr. Megalos up to 3rd now once again. There's Espinoza, there's Lucero in the mix as well. Again, you got to keep an eye on the 27 of Ochoa, who's trying to play spoiler here Not looking for a race win, just trying to get on the lead lap to start tomorrow from pole position. Her teammate got squeezed almost all the way up to the wall there by Seth Smith Jr. And Ochoa will get away that way. Espinosa really got tight there. Had to let out of it, and here comes Keisha Fox as well, also a lap down. Rex Riley on the lead lap and now in the top 10. She had a very fast car to get herself unlapped, and now she's using it to gain spots. Front of the field, it is Milenkovic out front once again ahead of Lantra. And here comes Lucero. Lucero from 5th to 3rd in one corner. That was entry to 3. Lucero was not taking no for an answer. Up to 3rd place. It is go time for the 88 crew. And around Isabel Lantra she goes. If someone's going to have a say about how far Milenkovic can go on this, it's going to be the 88 of Lucero. Look at this checkup here. Megalos right now in the top 5, and it's allowed Ochoa to break clear here. Megalos in 4th. It is now Espinosa in 5th. Riley's meteoric rise coming to a really sudden and swift pause, coming to 21 laps to go. And here comes Lucero. The inevitable. Bianca Lucero did not lead that lap. It's still in the hands of Milenkovic, but here we go. Can anyone stop Lucero from getting her first Champ Car race win? That is the $1 million question at the moment. Lantra would like to give it a shot. Milenkovic covers the gap. $20 to go here in the QuikTrip 300. Getting around Amity Polstrix. Lap traffic will be a slight factor here. Not so much for Lucero, and it may be all right for the 30 of Milenkovic here. Milenkovic goes below the white line on the apron there. Not going to take no for an answer. Neither will Lantra, and neither will Ochoa. Polstrix up near the wall there, giving as much space as you reasonably can give. I'd say if anyone's going to be able to catch down Lucero, it would be Ochoa with those fresher tires. It's not sure if that's entirely going to be reasonable here with 18 laps to go. Lantra getting passed by Ochoa. I don't think Milenkovic has got much of an answer right now either. Both in a little bit that time, about 2/10. What is the gap difference? Getting to 14 to go. Question is on whether Milinkovic can answer the call, and right now the answer so far to that has been no. Here comes the 27 of Ochoa. Didn't take much of an opportunity for Ochoa to scream through that door. If someone's going to catch the race leader, it's going to be the 27 at the moment. Driving through the corner 3 and 4. Time is of the essence for Ochoa to try to get back on the lead lap. Big moments here if it happens. 2/10 better. Sakurashian 24th, still 2 laps down. Will likely start 24th as things sit right now. Trying to answer for Ochoa. The gap's still coming down a little bit here. Here comes this battle though for second place. Several cars in the mix. Look at Kira Moore back in the fight now. 67 doing a great job. Getting up to the podium places once again, up to 3rd. Kira Moore led the first 6 laps of this race, and that's all that she's led in this race. But here she is once again. Very quiet most of this race. Here she goes for 2nd. Ochoa and Lucero shared the exact same lap time last time around. Lucero set to lead the most laps here, with 9 laps to go now. Lucero faster that time around by 2/10. Here comes Kira Moore though. Fastest of them all on the racetrack at the moment. Aguilar's trying to find some getaway here, trying to get around Seth Smith Jr. Will not be the case. Smith will take that 7th spot away. Espinosa falling off a little bit down in the 8th spot now for Espinosa. Fitzsuit in 9th, Chavez in 10th. Then it's Crown and Koivanami in 12th. Seven laps to go. Chero leads and pulling away. More of those sitting in 2nd. Would be a really good result for Kira Moore if she can hold on to it. A lot of pressure though from the 45 of Elantra and the 30 of Katerina Milinkovic. Joa's pursuit of trying to get back on lead lap and have the race pole tomorrow going to end up being a little bit short. Five laps to go. Here comes the battle once again for 3rd. This is Milinkovic getting to 3rd spot once again. Dispossessing that podium spot from Lantra. Here comes Rex Riley in the top 5 right now, looking for 4th. Side by side with the 45 of Lantra. Give it another shot here, 1 and 2. Did not work out as evenly and as smoothly as it was imagined by Riley, but here you go. And Lantra getting up the ghost because there goes Seth Smith Jr. as well. The laps tick away. Milinkovic is in range. See, this where Sakurachi is right now, having gone a third lap down. Lucero is in the clear with 3 laps to go. Traffic trying to find a way around Sakurachi. They approach the lap car with cars all over the place here. And this allows Riley to get into the podium conversation. Tires beginning to really wear out a little bit. 2 laps to go in this battle for the podium. Lucero's off and away with the race lead. I think Ochoa is beginning to understand that there is no chance of getting that reverse race pole tomorrow. And Moore's got to go. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go, presented by PNC Bank. And this is what Lucero hoped would happen. In Gateway. Around the final corner for the last time. Bianca Lucero is a Champ Car race winner. She wins race 1 at Kansas. She wins the QuikTrip 300. Kira Moore secures second ahead of Katerina Milinkovic. Next rally ends up in 4th place there. But it's Bianca Lucero, the race winner. Rex Riley in 4th. Isabel Lantra rounds out the top 5. Isabel Espinoza in 6th, ahead of Seth Smith Jr. Spasia Megalos ended up in 8th, ahead of Mia Vitsut, Roberta Crown Jr., who rounds out the top 10 in car 10. Maria Chavez and Rachel Clavinami 11th and 12th, ahead of Rika Venalainen, Karina Amara, Sora Hoshino, Nara Takarasi, Maria Damata, and Jace Clark, the last of the 18 cars on lead lap. So Jace Clark and Maria Damata, teammates for Black Rose Racing, they will lead the field to green tomorrow. Katrina Ochoa, Keisha Fox, 19th and 20th is how they finished there. Asada Quito, Dale Blanco, Sonia Walker, Karina Sakurachi, and Amity Polstrix in that order were the last of the 25 cars that saw the finish of tonight's race. Satomi Ray, Yumina Mizuno, Felicia Zappa, Natalia Kurachenko, Yuya Ishii, Valerie Fang, Arashi Seto, Luisa Floros, and Jake Carter round out the DNFs. They will start where they finished tonight for tomorrow's race. But it is Bianca Lucero, now a Champ Car race winner, winning ahead of Kira Moore and Katerina Milinkovic. The championship gap does close a little bit, but there's a really good chance that it opens wide open tomorrow once again when the field is inverted and we go racing once again here in the breadbasket. Join us again 8 p.m. tomorrow for more racing here for the Champ Car Challenger Series. 4 races to go. It is the Hollywood Casino 300 tomorrow night. On behalf of everyone here for the Firestone Champ Car Challenger Series, for everyone here at ABN Studios, stay safe, stay healthy. See you tomorrow night for some more racing. Until next time, so long, everybody.